The big three airlines in the U.S., Delta, American, United, all operate hundreds of wide-body aircrafts like the 777, 787, A330, and many others. And you would think for routes like, New York JFK to LAX, they would use some of those planes to fill the high demand that route has. And sometimes they do, and there's a good Air Corps video describing that, or explaining that, and you should watch that after this video. But normally, for many different reasons, airlines just use narrow bodies for those routes. And I'm going to show you exactly why. Alright, we're going to go through each one as a different part of the flight. So first up, we have the pre-flight. So reasons that, airlines don't use wide bodies is that, wide bodies take up more crew and have higher landing costs. So not only are landing costs at airports higher, wide-body aircraft actually always, require a larger size gates. Of course, most of the airports in the U.S. that would need a wide-body aircraft to clear demand have gates that are large enough, but sometimes the gate that would fit one wide body could fit, 2 or 3 narrow bodies. Then, of course, you need your crew members. Here I'm going to be comparing a 777-200ER and a 737-900. It looks like most of the time 737-9s either have 4 or 5 crew members plus 2 pilots, whereas 777s can have anywhere from 8 to 12 flight attendants, and then 2 or even more pilots. And of course, you're going to need ground crew people as wide bodies are bigger and have harder tasks that take longer than most narrow bodies. Plus, since the aircraft is bigger, it actually takes longer to turn the plane around and get it ready for flight. Of course, the next phase of flight is in-flight, so cruising, taking off, and landing. Alright, so I did all the math on this. First up, my handwriting's horrible, so bear with me. JFK to LAX is about 5 hours, 30 minutes of flight time, and LAX to JFK is about 4 hours, 45, due to the headwinds going west and tailwinds going east, speeding up your planes. And then I did the math on this. 739ER burns about 825 gallons of fuel per hour. Of course, that varies, so bear with me here. Cruise takes up about 4,250 gallons, and then, just extra fuel for takeoff and climb, landing, and then taxi, and just extra fuel comes out to about 5,500 gallons from JFK to LAX, and then about 5,100 gallons the other way. And then we look at a 777-200ER. It burns about 2,200 gallons of fuel per hour, meaning that it burns about 12,000 gallons of fuel in the cruise and around 3,000 extra gallons of fuel just doing other stuff like taking off and landing. And then flipping it around, LX to JFK is about 10,500, as well as about 3,250 gallons added on. Now, this actually kind of makes sense because long-haul wide bodies, such as the 777, are built to carry a lot of fuel and carry high amounts of passengers over long routes and do high ultra-endurance missions. Whereas narrow bodies like the 737 are meant to serve short-haul routes and be as efficient as possible in those routes while carrying a good amount of passengers. And now you can kind of see another reason why airlines don't use wide bodies on U.S. domestic routes. They just burn so much fuel. Even multiplying the 739s by 2, that they still only burn about 11,000 gallons of fuel compared to the even 12,000 gallons of fuel the 777 would take for cruise, even on the same route, same direction and everything. For takeoff and landings, wide-body engines have to produce more thrust to get the heavier plane off the ground, which means over time they undergo more wear and tear. Plus, components like gears and other components also undergo more wear and tear due to the plane being much heavier, and the plane has much higher maintenance fees. So those are just a couple of reasons why airlines don't use wide bodies on domestic routes in the US. If you guys have any other ideas for videos I should make, stuff like this, please put those in the comments, and of course, subscribe. See y'all later.